Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Tuesday, the 2nd of October, 2020. With the teleological, fruitful proclamation, news and gatherance. Flux with the news, flux with the show, coming in daily. Thank you so much for coming through. I've actually come through. We're going to do a bit of a talk show this morning. Do a bit of a talk show. Right before we get into UK politics, how I usually like to bring the audience to a bit of a Jeremy Cole, Trisha Goodard show, anything you like. Thank you for coming through, supporting the show. Like we try and work on progression in our life. Some of us need to find that, that love, that support that you need, that bit of compassion. You need a bit of compassion in life, don't you? When your mum and dad pass away, you need that bit of compassion to help you get through the rest of your life. Some people can live single for the rest of their life just with their children. No, they've got their compassion with their children. But some people like myself, alienated parent, you think to yourself, where am I going to go after my mum and dad's passed? I've got no compassion to wake up in the morning. You need compassion to wake up. You need compassion to go to sleep. Otherwise, no point being in Earth, is it? No point being on planet Earth. Is Earth flat or round? That's what I always ask people. No, Earth is round. I'm not going to go, bore you to tears. We're getting into this relationship conversation. Is the Earth flat or round? We had that before. Anyway, where was I going? Everyone's seeking relationship. Maybe you're in a relationship now, you're trying to be successful in your business. You're trying to work on progression. You've got a vision, but you can't make that vision because something's in your way. Something's blurring your vision. Maybe arguments at home, constant nagging at each other, jealousy, domestic violence. Um, what else can go wrong in a relationship? Maybe one's an alcoholic, the other one's a narcotic abuser. So, the breadwinner in the family that pays all the bills, goes out to work, and the other one's at home. I don't know, say, from me, in a man's perspective, I don't want to mock women because I support feminism, but from a man's perspective, man's going out to work, he's looking after his missus is going out, getting her hair done, getting her nails done, going out for coffee breaks and tea breaks with her friends. And then the man's thinking, like, I'm working my socks off. He's getting sick of it. She's spending all the money. That's not an amicable, reciprocated relationship. You're not working together. Everyone's thriving for this amicable relationship to work together to help both of you in your future. You both want the best for each other. When you walk up that aisle to marry, and you say the vows, for goodness and health or whatever, the vows you say, you got to work together, help each other throughout every day. Be reciprocated. She cooks the dinner, she does the cleaning, you got to work. She's a housewife. She's a good housewife because she does all the cooking, the cleaning, all the chores. But then, like you say, she could be an alcoholic, going out with her friends, getting clothes, whatever, spend all the bill money. Then it's not quite reciprocated. Then it causes an upset in the family. Little things you can think about, isn't there? Even your friendship. You might have a friendship like a close friend, and that friendship ain't reciprocated. So, you got problems in your business now because you're thinking about your friend. That friend needs to be annihilated. If that missus or your boyfriend on the other, shooting the other foot and your boyfriend's bringing you down, that boyfriend needs to be annihilated. You got to think of your mental health. You got to think of your mental health to get by in life. I've been on my single for 3 years, and probably I'll tell you what, a 15-year relationship. Last 5 years, maybe a bit more. For the worst years of my life, absolute worst years of my life. So I'm just trying to help you guys. Any of you guys suffering mental health, and you want to come and interact with the show, you can suffer mental health. Like it's coming to winter, it's getting cold. You want someone to cuddle up to at night. You want that bit. That's where the compassion comes in, isn't it? You want to be warm. You want to be loved. You want to be cared for. You get sick in winter as well, don't you? You get flu. You want someone to go, it's all right, babe. I'll get you a water bottle. I'll go and get you some. I'll get you medicine from from the doctors, from the chemist even. You want that. You want that. You want that support. You want that love. My phones keep bleeding. Everyone's going mad. I don't know if they're all my life joining the show, but yeah, everyone comes with problems. Like ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend problems. That's one thing you don't be bringing up in a relationship. Try and move on with your life. Don't talk about your ex-partner with your new partner, because that will bring them to hate her. That'll bring them to hate her. Anyway, moving on. Sociological change. Sociological change. Let's talk about sociological change. What is sociological change? So you move in house. You live in a suburban area when you brought up with your mum and dad because they didn't have a lot of money. We was all brought up in council property, say for instance, from birth with our parents. We was brought up in the sociological change around an urban area, an urban community, urban dominion, urban constituency. If you're in America, urban state province. So you brought up, in the rough ends, people got narcotic abusers. It's probably it could be paedophiles, anything in that constituency. It could be all kinds of monstrosity, provocation, troublesome figures in that area. That can affect your way of learning. That can affect your way of your professionalism. Say in football, hockey, you've got these people on narcotics. They're going to be your friends going through school. Well, not your friends, but your associates going through school years. It's going to affect your ability. It's going to affect your ability to be fluent and outspoken. It's going to make you anxious. So I've always been, I was born and bred through Church of England school. I went primary school, Port Open, Church of England. My granddad was in World War II. I was born in the postmodernism era of Margaret Thatcher, like I tell you, 1983. So I had a lot to live up to. I had a lot of high expectations, but living in my area of Essex is hard for me to get where I need to be in life. But I'm here today. I've done various MBQs. That's why I call myself the professor, because I've done sports science, human biology, and I argue with a lot of debates on politics and people try and argue with me. I say, think with your mandible think with your cranium before you open your mandible. I pull people to shreds with my extra education, which is, it's good. If you're having a debate, you need to know what you're talking about. I'll talk about evangelism. My mate's an evangelist in Clapton on the street. We're talking about, not discrimination of any ethnicities. That's why I always say ethos is the word. Ethos is the word. We should love one another. Like, it doesn't matter if you're Muslim, Buddhism, Hindu, Christian, Catholic. You love one another. Doesn't matter if you're gay. Nowadays, gay is like, it's coming reality. It is reality this day and age. It's all reality. Even transgenders, we have to, not discriminate, because it's discrimination, and really, in hindsight, it's breaching ASBO. It's breaking the law. People should love one another. And this guy he's an evangelist in T. He's talking about all the gay community. He's talking about Islamophobia, disrespecting, and he's going to be an evangelist in a church. Should they let that happen? Definitely not. But that church gets shut down or getting EBRs to leave. You shouldn't be allowed to do it. It's absolute shocking that he's going to be preaching to young children the wrong way, not the right way. Anyway, moving on, guys. Thank you for coming through. Appreciate it. That was me speaking off the cuff. I always try and speak off the cuff for the first 10 minutes just to show you I'm extraordinary. I'm extravaganza. So, yeah, thanks for coming through. Subscribe if you can. Share with your friends. I want to try and accumulate a good audience, if you like. I'm a bit of a Theophilus. Absolutely. I do go to church. I do respect your authorities in church, but how I believe things is a different story. Anyway, COVID. Donald Trump and Melania tests positive. US President Trump has said he and First Lady Melania Trump have tested positive for coronavirus and now self-isolated. Mr. Trump, age 74 and therefore in high-risk group, wrote on Twitter, "We will get through this together." It comes after Hope Hicks, one of his closest aides, tested positive. Mr. Trump's announcement comes just over a month before the presidential elections on the 3rd November, where he faces Democratic challenger Joe Biden. Ms. Hicks travelled with Mr. Trump on Air Force One to the first presidential TV debate with Mr. Biden in Hawaii. On Tuesday, some of Mr. Trump's family members who attended the debate were seen not wearing masks. The Biden campaign, the Biden camp has so far made no public comments on the latest developments. A person is required to self-isolate after either showing coronavirus symptoms or a positive test. Meanwhile, quarantine restricts the movements of these who have been in contact with an infected person but are not themselves positive or symptomatic. Mr. Trump has mostly spurned mask wearing and has often been pictured not socially distanced with aids of others during official engagements. The coronavirus has infected more than 7.2 million Americans, killing more than 200,000 of them. What do we know about Mr. Trump's health? Mr. Trump's physician, Dr. Sean Conley, released a statement late on Thursday, saying the President and the First Lady were both well at this time, and they plan to remain at home within the White House during their convalescence. Rest assured, I expect the President to continue carrying out his duties without disruption while recovering and will keep you updated on future developments, the statement said. The physician provided no further details. According to Trump's most recent physical examination earlier this year, he weighed 244 pounds, 110 kilos, 110.7 kilos. This is considered to be obese for the weight of 1.9, 6'3" inches. Rather tall, isn't it? I'm 6'2", but I'm not 110 kilograms. Nowhere near. I'm about 75. Dr. Conley stated at the time that the president remains healthy. Mr. Trump will also have the best medical care advice. America's Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, says a person must self-isolate for 10 days after a positive test. Is Mr. Trump at particular risk because of his age? Before we move on, have a think about your health. I mean, I've got quite a few problems with my health. Have a think about your health. Are you obese? Are you looking after yourself, your heart, everything else? You're looking at OCPD. Do you smoke heavily? Overweight and smoke. I mean, you're eating too much, so you're blocking your arteries, eating the fats, okay, in your body, and you're smoking. Then ask yourself, are you going to have OCPD? Be careful, Try and, I'm not being horrible to you, but I'm just saying, be careful. Try and better yourself. I'm here to support, not to discriminate. Like Mr. Trump's overweight. He's admitted it. Well, the health advisors admitted it on the reports. So you've got to think about your health. I don't try and discriminate people being obese because some people get there through various reasons. It is dangerous to speculate about how the virus will affect any individual person. There are clear risk factors. The older you are, the greater the risk of coronavirus infection becoming life-threatening. People aged 64 to 74 with COVID in the US are 5 times more likely to need hospital care and 90 times more likely to die than somebody in their 20s. The CDC says 8 out of 10 COVID deaths in the country have been in over 65s. The virus also seems to hit men and people who are overweight harder. But that is the big picture. A pattern seems across the whole population. It is not a way of saying this is what will happen to the US president. The health of any two 74-year-olds will be widely different and other medical conditions, massively after how big a threat the virus poses. We do not yet know if Donald Trump has even developed symptoms. Earlier on Thursday, Mr. Trump said he and his wife, who is 50, were going to self-isolate after Miss Hicks' positive test. Hope Hicks has been at Mr. Trump's side for years. He tweeted, Hope Hicks, who has been working so hard without even taking a small break, has just tested positive for COVID-19, which is terrible. The First Lady and I were waiting for test results. In the meantime, we will begin to quarantine this process. According to Bloomberg News, Miss Hicks experienced symptoms of this disease. stay tuned, guys. Got some significant news that might help you or your family, cousins, whatever. Someone close by might help you. We've got um, DWP information. We've got something about benefit cheats. Just be careful. Who is Hope Hicks? It is not clear how Mr. Trump's positive test will affect arrangements for the second presidential debate, which is scheduled for 15th of October in Miami, Florida. Mr. Trump is not the first world leader to have tested positive early this year. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson and Brazil's President Jair Bolsonaro were infected. They they both have since recovered, although Mr. Johnson had to receive regular oxygen treatment to help his breathing during hospitalization. What does this mean for the US? What does this mean for the US election? Week after Donald Trump told Americans not to worry about COVID-19 because it affects virtually nobody except the elderly and those with heart conditions, the president himself has tested positive. It is difficult to overstate exactly how earth-shaking a development this is, just 32 days before the US election. The president will have to quarantine for treatment. Campaign rallies are off. The next presidential debate in 2 weeks is in question. Does that mean he'll stay prime minister? He might have covered it at the right time, eh? Imagine that for a game of politics. Imagine that for a game of politics. Is formation of being ill with coronavirus has gotten president elected again possible? Don't know. Recurring message from the president that the nation is rounding the turn and its handling of the virus has been undermined by his own illness. Just 2 days ago, during the first debate, Trump belittled Democratic opponent Joe Biden for frequently wearing a mask and not having campaign rallies that matched his own size. Now his fatal positive test of COVID-19, is that going to counteract as like a compassion support vote? Emil, please support me as president. Vote for me. Is that it's going to work? Very tactical way of thinking, Mr. Trump. Now the White House and the campaign will have to answer why the president took such seemingly cavalier attitude towards protecting himself, and how many others in the White House and higher echelons of the US government may have been exposed. During times of national turmoil, the American public tends to rally in support of the president. It may not be enough to insulate him for the question that follow, however. You can't mock Trump for his tactical improvisations. Have there been other cases at the White House? Vice President Mike Pence and his wife were tested on Friday morning, and the results were negative. Mr. Pence press secretary Devin O'Malley tweeted in May, Katie Miller, another press secretary to Mr. Pence, tested positive and later recovered. The same month, a member of the US Navy who was serving as one of Mr. Trump's personal valets tested positive, but the White House said at the time that neither the president nor vice president were affected. National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien, a number of Secret Service agents, a Marine One pilot, and a White House cafeteria worker has also tested positive. The White House tests aides and anyone else who comes into contact with President daily. Boris Johnson has wrote on Twitter, "My best wishes to President Trump and First Lady. Hope they both have a speedy recovery from coronavirus." Other world leaders, including Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Israeli counterpart Benjamin Netanyahu, also sent messages of support to the couple. I don't know how to say that, man. Ever so sorry. Bear with me. I do make some slight hiccups, but I'll do my best, as you know. Hope you enjoy the show, as always. Proclamation, news and gatherings. It's almost absolute populism with a bona fide conservatism. Of course it is. And it's real people, real radio, the realist. Speak it how it is. Which way, anyway, goes politics? With the prodigious, the prominent, nutty professor. But I'm here. I'm in the driving seat. Here we go. Talk about this. I hope it comes up. Benefits cheat, mum. Just recently. It's just recent as well. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Bear with me. What a great show, guys. We're enjoying the show. The old, it's the old computer. One's a bit slow sometimes. But getting a bit live. Benefits cheat, as I was saying. Benefits cheat mum jailed for 34,000 K scam. 34,000 K scam. Over lies about living with hubby. Breaks down as she led to the cells. This sheriff also blasted Emma Tanner's husband, Christopher, saying he was to some extent responsible for landing her in the dock. Looks like little pop up. Bear with me. Can we actually? I don't think we can get into that on Chestnut. But never mind. Moving on. Moving on. Bear with me, ladies and gents. Next news, please. Next news, please. Flux for the show. Flux for the news. Not quite flux, I'd like it, but anyway, let's go to Margaret Ferrier. Margaret Ferrier on Nicola Sturgeon today. Margaret Ferrier on Nicola Sturgeon. Front bench politics. Also inside Westminster, UK Parliament, Abbey Road. So it looks like it's SNP. Nicola Sturgeon. Money plan. Nicola Sturgeon. Sorry about my have a little bit of a laugh. Don't take things too seriously. A lot of people are struggling with this COVID at the moment, mental health wise. Are you sitting indoors, drinking yourself silly, smoking cannabis, being stupid? Think of your health. Margaret Ferrier, Nicola Sturgeon urges COVID trip MP to do the right thing. The MP for Rutherglen and Hamilton West spoke in a debate in the House of Commons before returning to Scotland after a positive test was confirmed. MP Rutherglen. Scotland's First Minister has urged Margaret Ferrier to resign as an MP after she travelled from Glasgow to London with COVID-19 symptoms, then returned home after testing positive. Yeah, that is a bit out of order, a bit selfish. Nicola Sturgeon is also an SNP leader. She said she had made clear her view to Miss Ferrier that she should do the right thing and step down. Miss Ferrier has been suspended by the SNP but cannot be sacked as an MP. Common Speaker Sir Lindsay Hall said he could not believe her behaviour. An assistant sergeant at arms in the Commons has been told to self-isolate after being close to Miss Ferrier. When she said she was speaking in the Commons on Monday while awaiting the results of the coronavirus test, so you got these deadly symptoms, would you then travel from your home to Scotland? You know, if I live in Essex, would I think to myself, I'm single, I've found a girlfriend in Scotland, I've got COVID, so I risk everyone's life on the way. No, that the girl I'm meeting, and maybe she's got kids or family. You know, let's be serious. You wouldn't do it, would you? You wouldn't do it. So you can see why Nicola Sturgeon's upset here. Provocation caused by Miss Ferrier, absolutely. Miss Ferrier has apologised and said she deeply regretted her actions, but has given not, but has not, but has given not yet given any indication of whether or not she intends to continue sitting as an independent MP. That's a bit of a tongue twister, that one, wasn't it? Repeating the same words over and over. Mr. Sturgeon has told the Daily Coronavirus briefing that Miss Ferrier had been guilty of the worst breach imaginable and said She had made it clear, crystal clear, that she should stand down in the interest of the overall integrity of the public health message. She has added, Margaret is a friend of mine, so everything I'm about to say is obviously with the heaviest of hearts. And of course, I wish her a speedy recovery from COVID. But none of that changes the fact that her actions were reckless, dangerous, and completely indefensible. And I feel very angry on behalf of all of you. It's very, yeah, it's very, very inappropriate as a prime minister, as a professional. They're putting these COVID measures down, and then she's breaking all measures with COVID-19 positive. Sir Lindsay said he was very, very angry that Miss Ferrier had to put at the risk of infection by a reckless decision to travel to and from Westminster and speak in the chamber. He said Miss Ferrier should consider her position and added, I cannot believe the behaviour of the Member of Parliament. The MP of Rutherglen and Hamilton West said she has experienced mild symptoms on Saturday and was tested for coronavirus. However, she decided to travel by train to Westminster on Monday before getting a result because she was feeling much better. Absolutely ludicrous, isn't it? She spoke 4 minutes in the Commons chamber during a coronavirus debate, tweeting a video of her speech, but was told later that evening that she had tested positive for the virus. Despite this, Miss Ferrier took a train back to Scotland on Tuesday, with SNP whips in the Commons being told about her positive tests on Wednesday. It is understood she had initially told the party she was going home because her family member was unwell. A spokeswoman for the party said the SNP chief whip immediately informed Parliament authorities about learning of Miss Ferrier's positive test on Wednesday. But she had it. She said it was not until Thursday the SNP divorce discovered that Miss Ferrier had been tested prior to travelling to London and had been travelling back to Glasgow despite knowing that she had a positive result. Miss Sturgeon said she was only told on Thursday afternoon, shortly after she faced opposition leaders at First Minister's questions in Scottish Parliament. As you know, I do like Sturgeon. I like the way she's diplomatic. She's got her own opinion, her own mind, her own formation of politics. She's not guided by other prime ministers, other guys and women in charge. She's got her own vision. Miss Ferrier's actions became public when she tweeted an apology at about 6 on Thursday. SNP sources initially said they would await the result of a police investigation into her action before deciding whether or not she would be suspended. But the party announced her suspension about an hour later, with Miss Sturgeon subsequently tweeting that MP's action had been made indefensible. Police Scotland confirmed they had been contacted by Miss Ferrier, saying officers were looking into circumstances and liaising with the Metropolitan Police Service. Miss Ferrier could face a £4,000 fine for the first time offence of coming into contact with others when she should have been self-isolated under new law that came into force on the day of her positive test. Ian Blackford, the SNP leader at Westminster, earlier told BBC Breakfast that nobody is above the law and calling on Miss Ferrier to do the right thing. SNP MPs David Linden, Kirsty Blackman and Stephen Flynn has also called for her to step down. BBC Scotland's chief medical correspondent Glenn Campbell said there may be ways of Miss Ferrier's constituents to force her out if she refuses to quit. This would require her to first be suspended from the Commons for a fortnight or 10 sitting days by the Standing Committee. If 10% of the registered voters in her constituency, they signed a recall petition within the next 6 weeks, her seat would become vacant and by-election would be called. 5 days a week, every week, Nicola Sturgeon appears on TV. She's taking questions about coronavirus policies and urging every one of us to abide by the rules. So for my MP, who has committed the most egregious breach of the regulations, possibly of the law. To be one of our own is acutely embarrassing. SNP leader has been quick to condemn others for breaking rules, has made no attempt to defend the excuse of Margaret Ferrier. This is the first minister whose chief medical advisor resigned for breaking lockdown rules back in April, and who demanded the sacking of Prime Minister's chief advisor Dominic Cummings after he admitted the breaches of the regulations. She swiftly condemned Margaret Ferrier's behaviour. Oh, SNP, SNP MPs called publicly Miss Ferrier to resign, and Miss Sturgeon has spoken to her this morning, made it clear that she could step down as MP. But the problem for the SNP could be not force the MP to Rutherglen and Hamilton West to leave their job. They have already been moved for the party whip and from suspended her from the SNP. But that is all they can do. Miss Ferrier. Miss Ferrier was one of the MPs who called the Prime Minister's advice Dominic Cummings to resign in the wake of the controversy over the visit of the North East of England during lockdown. At the time, she said the action had undermined the sacrifices that we all have been making in lockdown to protect each other from coronavirus, and described this position as untenable. Scottish Conservative leader Douglas Ross said Miss Ferrier's reckless actions have put the lives of others people at risk, and has questioned the SNP timeline of events. Mr. Ross has said the SNP said they only found about a wrongdoing on Thursday. That means we're supposed to accept the SNP found out Margaret Ferrier tested positive on Wednesday and asked nothing. SNP timeline is full of holes, and reasonable person that can see that. Shadow Scottish Secretary Ian Murray also demanded answers from the SNP at a very serious question surrounding the behaviour of Miss Ferrier. The Scottish Labour MP said her catastrophic, negligent actions have put lives at risk. Miss Ferrier was the first elected as SNP MP in 2015, but lost her seat in Labour in 2017 before winning it back in the last year's general election with a majority of 5,230. Miss Ferrier's stupid actions have paid a costly event, losing the job as an MP with the SNP party. All your life been taken off you. What a shame. But what a stupid action to do. What a stupid thing to do. That's all I can say to that. I can't support it. I can't totally condemn it because I feel sorry for her. I've got a bit of compassion for her. She might not, thinking straight. Who knows? Mental health may have been playing up. Who knows? But I'm not going to protect it. That's for sure. Not going to protect the stupidity. Brexit. EU calls for trade talks to intensify ahead of call with the UK. Boris Johnson and Ursula von der Leyen will speak via video conference on Sunday. Trade talks to intensify. EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has called for the post-Brexit trade talks to intensify ahead of the call with Boris Johnson on Saturday. Saturday, not Sunday. The pair will take part in a video conference to take stock of negotiations and discuss next steps. Been talking about the negotiations last few days, haven't we? It's important. The UK and the EU complemented the last round of formal talks in Brussels on Friday with a meeting between lead negotiators Lord David Frost and Michael Barnier. Both sides have said a deal needs to be agreed this month. UK Chief Negotiator Lord Frost to make a statement on the state of talks later. UK Cabinet Minister Robert Jenrick has also called on the EU to show flexibility. I mean, is it EU important to you? Is the EU important to you? Is it important to any of us? But President of the European Council, Charles Michel, told reporters the EU had a clear position and they were very calm. The meeting between Mr Johnson and Miss von der Leyen will come days after the EU launched legal proceedings against the UK over its plans to override section of the Brexit divorce deal. The UK has formally left the EU in January, but entered a transition period where the UK has kept to UK trading rules and remain inside its customs union and single market to allow the two sides to negotiate a trade deal. Formal talks began in March and continued through the pandemic, but there has been concerns over whether a plan could be agreed before that period runs out on the 31st December. Issues that have become a particular sticking point between negotiators are state aid. When governments give financial support to businesses and fishing rules, the BBC Europe editor Katie Adler said there has been rumours of progress in talks from UK officials, but they have not been confirmed by the EU team. Speaking ahead of her call with the UK Prime Minister, Ms von der Leyen said, "We should not forget we've made progress in many different fields, but of course the most difficult ones are still completely open." She pointed to the problems with so-called level playing fields, with state aid calling it a question of fairness, as well as the issue of fishing. But she added overall, where there is a will, there is a way. I think we should intensify the negotiations because it is worth working hard on it. Perfectly content. The EU has said a deal must be reached before the end of October to allow it to be signed off by the member states by the end of the year, while Johnson has said both sides should move on if agreement was not reached by the middle of this month. If a deal is not done, the UK regards trade of the bloc of the World Trade Organisation rules. Miss Jenrick told BBC Radio 4 Today programme the government perfectly content to see the transition period end and us to continue a trade on the same sort of arrangements of Australia if agreement is not reached. So what I like in Parliament, what I like about Parliament is you got these prime ministers or whatever. They just need when they get a deal, it just needs to be settled there and then. I'm not one for obviously they're getting paid for doing their job. Patience. You want a deal done, sealed, and delivered, don't you? Straight away. You want it done, the deal on a proclamation, signed, delivered, and done, dusted, gone. That's that deal. That's how we're having it. That's it. That's my final say. I know it's all time and forbearance for anything for the commons. All this COVID-19 restrictions, it's, um, it's taking its time to get where it is, isn't it? All these plans of action how they are, how the shops, we had the queuing system, all that kind of thing. Make people safer. Why didn't they just boom straight away from day one? It's hard. It's hard. Thoughtful process, a lot of things. News of talks between Boris Johnson and Ursula von der Leyen is as significant as Saturday cannot be dismissed as more blah 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 and Brexit process. This is trouble where people speculate politics. They don't realise the rules and regulations they have to go by. Not only that, you've got everything. Talking about we've got all kinds of crises coming at us. Got global warming, green, the green effect, all that kind of thing. Pollution, loads of things. Eco-friendly. They've got so much to look at in the long run. That could torture us in the future for our loved ones, our children growing up as well. They're looking at tackling everything, everyday life, and people will concern jump on bandwagon and try and pull politics to shreds. It's a big, broad speculation of your life. Little different things you have to tackle. As a counsellor, I am kind of a counsellor, most definitely, and a counsellor. Like I said, I walking my cousin over the field. A Rottweiler off a lead in afternoon daylight over a country park. Oh, yeah, we have dogs over there, but you have families over there and picnics. Why do you let your dog off a lead, especially a Rottweiler? Imagine if you had a picnic with your wife and your kids. Rottweiler come up and took the chicken out your hand and you tips of your fingers. Ludicrous. Don't have your dog not on a lead. Simple as that. Anyway, speculation is rife, of course, as to why Prime Minister and the EU Commission President have suddenly scheduled their digital teat. In general, it's interpreted as a positive sign. The accepted wisdom has always been in negotiation teams can only make much progress. And the final push, the politically, though tough decisions on how much to compromise on a final sticking point would have to come from up high. But we're not there, we're not even there yet. If it's possible and the Prime Minister and Mrs. von der Leyen are talking tomorrow to explore who really is willing to make what compromises on the final outstanding issue. For now, the whys and whats on Saturday's talks are pure speculation. The only thing we can know for sure, the UK and the EU say they want a deal, though not at any price. Yet, if and when the deal eventually emerges, both sides will have to make compromises. This will be in aid of it, and there'll be money to keep the speculation going, wouldn't it? Keep the democracy running, surely. They were also concerned trade talks would stall over a new law brought in by the UK government. Parliament passed a new bill last month. The government said, I will protect the integrity of the UK market. Any issues with the border of the island is a case of a no-deal scenario. How ministers conceded some clauses would break international law if they were enacted by either Roden and deal agreed by the bloc with the EU left in January. Known as a withdrawal agreement. When the government failed to move clauses by the end of September, Ms von der Leyen confirmed the EU had sent a letter of formal notice to the UK, which could eventually lead to a court case in the European Court of Justice. The plan is to leave in January with Brexit still under thoughts what's going to happen. Anyway, ladies and gents, thank you all for coming through on YouTube. Castbox, everyone come through. Please subscribe. Means a lot, ladies and gents. Always come through. Tony Angel, thank you so much. Just want to say thank you all for coming through. I'm working through as a counsellor, day by day, getting more sophisticated, more educated in my way of thinking. I'm thinking about everyone as a whole, not just myself. Not just my love life. I ain't got one, but I'm thinking about everyone. Life is in my hands. God bless. Take care. One love. Have a good day. Thank you, Tony. Have a great day, my friend. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it.